All right, that's better. Sorry, guys. Facebook did not like the bumpy ride over to our little location, so we had to start over. Technical difficulties, that's what happens when you film live. Film live and you do it out in the wild and not on a set. So anyhow, we got a little shallow spot here. We're out on Old Hickory Lake. It's actually been a while since I've been riding. Got no good excuse, but I thought we'd do a Facebook Live, a little bit of a walk around of the new STX 160LX. Let me get it in the frame here. Okay, good, as it floats away. So right now, there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of concerns. Unfortunately, I got planes going overhead, sorry. We're right in the path of the Nashville International Airport. Unfortunately, there's been a few guys who have been experiencing some trouble with the new unit, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. I wanted to share. Now, mind you, we've only had this for just over a month, maybe actually a little over a month and a half, and been able to rack up some hours on it. And of course, I was able to test ride this unit back in February, where we went out of Dana Point, went down to went actually further than Oceanside. We actually went all the way down to Coronado, and under the Coronado Bridge into the island, and ate lunch and came all the way back, and had the crap beat out of us. It was really rough. Yeah, so been able to rack up some time on this particular unit. There are quite a few things to really praise about it. A lot of things that Kawasaki did, and wanted to share those. We'll walk you around through all the things that we really like. And then there's a few things that need to be addressed that I know that Kawasaki's already addressing one of them. And hopefully the other few things can be looked at over time. But let's talk about what we love. Number one, got sunscreen in my eyes, is the 20.5 gallon tank. One of the best things that Kawasaki did was put its massive, ultra 20.6 gallon tank in this recreation sized watercraft. Easily smartest thing those guys did. Whoever thought of that idea, Kawasaki needs to give them a pay raise, because that is easily one of the best things. I am actually going to attempt a pretty stupid long distance ride. I'm hoping to achieve about 530 miles in one day with this unit and some gas on the back in like an auxiliary tank that I'm gonna plumb, and then maybe a pair of jerry cans. I'm not entirely sure. And I kind of put that up on my personal Facebook page. But I honestly think the only way I could even attempt to do such a thing is with this 20.5 gallon tank. So by far, one of the best things on this unit is the 20.5 gallon tank. It's really outstanding. It takes forever just to get a bar or two down on the gas gauge. I mean, it really it's deceptive, because it's not the most fuel efficient machine. We're getting low fives when I do the math, and that's from the mud bug. And we were cruising mainly in the mud bug. We were never really going full throttle. I was cruising with my wife and my kids, so I was doing about 5.1, 5.2 if I remember right. It's in the article that'll be coming out later. Anyhow, let me switch hands. So gas tank, number one. Number two is actually something they didn't change, and that is the 1.5 liter. The 1.5 liter has been around for a long time. What they did for the STX is that they put the fly-by-wire engine management system, engine control unit, on this machine. So your throttle response is great. It's a very progressive throttle. The throttle trigger doesn't wear you out as it floats away. It's a busy day on the lake. It's a Saturday, so you can imagine we got a lot of boat traffic. And it's the last weekend before school. Well, no, it's the second to last weekend before school starts. I can imagine next Saturday will be even crazier. But the engine management, engine control unit, and the digital throttle body really give this machine a very nice linear torque curve. Acceleration's very nice. It's not going to throw you off. But it does get on. So I was very happy with that. I was very happy with just the engine management of the it's the previous engine, but it does have all of the electronic ECU and throttle body of the Ultra, the Ultra 310s, 3X, R, and LX. In addition to that is, well, obviously you get, one of the nice things is that you get cruise control. And I'll show you that. Let me show you the handlebars. All right. So, whoop. All right. So the handlebars that they have a nice pistol grip, hand grip. You know, it kind of ergonomically feels nice. Obviously this is backwards, so, but holding it like that actually feels very natural, has a good grip. Cruise control, the cruise control buttons are a little tight, but that just kind of gives you a little bit of a firmer feel. And you can toggle up, toggle down, you can set it. I believe there's 5 settings. So if you set your cruise control at, say, 40 miles an hour, you can bump it up 5, you can bump it down 5. Otherwise, it's going to tell you to reset it. But this actually works out really nice. Then you have the traditional start button, kill switch for the lanyard. So there's that. And so that's pretty traditional. Anyone who knows Kawi has seen this, and anyone with the Ultras will be familiar with that. Okay, so that's pretty good. They also raised the handlebar. They also raised the handlebar setting so that it has a little bit of a higher position. Now that leads into something I wanted to talk about, is the overall height of the STX. If you look at it from the bond line to the top of the seat, top of the driver's seat, if you can see what I'm seeing here, is, you know what, here, I will actually turn the camera lens around like I know what I'm doing. Let's flip that. Okay, so what radically changed, I mean, there's several changes, but for those who are familiar, the outgoing STX had been around for 18 years. And what they did for this year was that they only changed from the bond line, from that green strip right there, from the bond line up, all right? Smart styling changes that are good for the footwells, good for rider position, gave you more storage. There's a lot to be praise here. But what's interesting, and is both a good and a quasi bad thing, is the STX overall height increased by 4.5 inches. Okay. Now that means that the driver, the rider, is actually sitting a lot higher in the saddle than he was on the previous STX. The STX was really low slung, and this, you sit up a lot higher, you sit up a little bit more erect, a little more upright. And we're going into the weeds here. All the Tennessee River slime. But the seat, The seat itself has you sitting up a little bit more upright, and that's why they changed the handlebars, okay? And so you're not slumped over the bars, you're not slouching, but you're sitting upright. Number two is, obviously with the LX, you're looking at a tiered seat. So you're seeing, they say it's 3, I really say 2, but I get that they're trying to count the middle hump here. I don't particularly count that. I can't imagine a lot of people would sit on it, but that they are counting it as a 3-step or a 3-tiered seat. The seat on the LX is covered. You're not going to believe this, guys. I'm getting temperature warnings on the phone. I literally had to stick the phone in the water. I took it out of the case, put it back in the case, and then stuck it in the water. This is how ridiculous this thing is. All right, something's up with my phone. I don't know how long this is going to last. This is the worst Facebook Live I've done. Okay, so let's just do a walk around without the selfie stick, and we'll see how fast I can do this. All right. So anyway, I was going to say was that the rider position and putting you up 4.5, 5 inches up in the air, what that also does is that puts the center of gravity a lot higher on this ski. All right. And what happens when you put the center of gravity higher up on a ski when it's designed to be lower? All right. It teeter-totters. All right. It wags on its keel. And what we found is that around 35 to 45 miles an hour, this ski will roll side to side trying to find its keel, trying to find its center, because the center of gravity is so stinking high on it. So now, don't get me wrong, if you're cooking, if you're going 55 miles an hour, you're going 50, 55 miles an hour, it's happy. I mean, it is, I got more sunscreen. It's happy. It tracks straight, tracks true, cuts through chop. It's actually really comfortable. It's just like you would imagine the previous STX to be like. But as it goes into the slime, and I gotta go get it, is that it has a little bit of a rolling effect when you're going slower. That's not ideal, okay? And that's because they increased the actual center of gravity, they elevated the center of gravity. Okay, number 2 is, as you can see, we have a manual reverse, okay? We've given Cowie plenty of crap about not having a reverse, and that there is actual evidence that Sea-Doo and Yamaha's reverse has actually helped not only save people from damaging their watercraft, but actually saved lives. We're working on a story, working with some insurance agencies to get some numbers, but there are people who are obstinate and say, "Oh, I don't need a reverse. I've used a manual reverse. I don't need a stupid brake." That's fine. Okay. Well, here's the concern, and let me see if I can do this without being in my own light. Okay. I'm trying to show you the actual cam where the reverse, here it is. Okay. Here's where the reverse, this is the reverse cam. All right. We're in reverse right there. You see how it's triggered in here? Right there is your forward. Notice how much room you have. Let's see if I can see what I'm pointing at. Notice how much you have here in between forward and reverse. You have almost nothing when it comes to a throw. All right, they call this a throw. A throw is how much distance between gears does that cam move. Okay, we have about half an inch here. Here's the problem. This is where your neutral would be. If they would increase the throw, you would have a neutral. That way, you could sit around with your friends with the engine running and not have to worry. But they've made the reverse throw so short that you have no neutral, and it won't hold. It will not hold there. It will, the reverse bucket will actually push it to either forward or reverse if you're trying to keep it in neutral. I've tried, trust me. I have diligently tried, and it is Just unhappy. So that's a critique, because honestly, this is an easy fix. You can machine the throw, extend the cable, and put in a notch, even if it's a temporary divot, that would allow the reverse handle to lock into a neutral position. So that's a mild thing. Okay. What they did about there was a lot of questions about the glove box, okay? The glove box door is latched, right? Let's try that again. Little finger, poke. All right. This is a very weak plastic latch. And in order to get it to engage, you can't push it down. You cannot push it closed. You have to actually pull the tab to get it to engage. But you can pop it out rather easily. This is flapped open. In fact, this was flapping open almost the entire time out in the Pacific Ocean. So they got to revise the latch here. The latch is a problem. All right, but something really cool. Here, let me get a little closer. Obviously, we have our safety key. All right, but they have a waterproof case that is filthy in here. How the heck did it get so filthy? There's a waterproof. It's got a gasket. I don't know why this is so filthy. I can't believe it. Waterproof case for your phone, your wallet, your keys. It's a little tight. Here's the USB port. You can plug in an actual phone charger here. You can directly plug in to listen to music, or you can do Bluetooth. I'll talk about the radio in a second. Of course, that doesn't want to stay. Figures. All right. So you just put in your immobilizer key, you put in your lanyard, you hit the green button, you're good to go. Okay. Dashboard is pretty functional. It is very similar to the current Ultra dashboard. Obviously, there is no boost gauge, as there is no boost. And then they moved the cup holders from the glove box to up here on the upper deck. Pretty big, pretty spacious, which is nice. You can put a big drink in there. That's fine. The only suggestion, it's not even really a critique. Let me climb up, I'll show you a vertical. Is that, as you can see, there's nothing in there. It's just hard plastic with a little drain hole. And although these are deep, the impact of bouncing can launch a bottle out really quickly. And the one thing that I would suggest is have HydroTurf, who supplies the mats, provide small little pucks of HydroTurf to glue down at the bottom so that they'll absorb a lot of the vibration, and that way your drinks won't bounce out. So that's just a small suggestion. I think that's easily done for a few cents, and adds to a little bit of the LX. It's an added detail. It's very nice. Let's see here. You know what? Let's talk about the seat. I left something out on the seat, and that is this. Okay, the back seat, they kind of buried it in the release, was that the back seat has this feature. It folds up. All right. And if you actually they got a little kickstand here. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. All right, here we go. So here's our little kickstand. It's got a little hole in it. Goes to a big tub in the back. All right. But there is a problem. And the problem is the actual connection where the seat is. It took very little to roll it right off. This doesn't hold the seat very well. These prongs are supposed to glide on a track and catch right there. Unfortunately, as you can see, I demonstrated, and I can do it again, is that this seat pops off rather easily, especially because it is a little heavy. Let's see if it does it on the other side. Yeah, it popped right off. Okay. So you got to be real careful with it, especially if you're in a rough area. If water, if the water's bouncing. Okay, you can take the tub out. You can see inside. Here is inside the hull. Obviously, Kawasaki, really good fit and finish. Really nice. What you'd come to expect. Your battery's back here. Let's turn it around so you can see the water box. There you go. All right. It's the same, same fit and finish and quality control that Kawai's known for with its hulls. Nice, solid fiberglass hull. No funky materials, nothing weird. Oh, here's a neat thing I like. Neat little detail. Is this little pouch back here. This is a little wet storage pouch for ropes. And it drains. It's just got a little plastic rivets to keep it on. You put your wet rope back here. Nice little thing. Actually, I actually use it. It's useful. It works out really well. I'm actually a fan. They also integrated a reboard, some reboarding hand grips. So you got 1, 2, 3 handrails to grab onto, which is nice. Makes, reboarding really easy, especially for like the kids. And if you're noticing the swim step back here is actually really neat in that it's bi-level. Now, the bi-level or the split swim step does come into be a slight problem if you're trying to put a rack on the back. Actually, I'm embarrassed to admit, you can see the little imprints from the rack that I have been testing with. I've been trying to test fit a cool PWC rack on the back of this with my fuel tank for my stupid long ride that I'm going to attempt. So the guys who make aftermarket racks are going to have to get a little creative on that one, because it is a very short, abbreviated swim step on the back. There is a folding step right here. This is a little narrow, but the nice thing is that it actually goes pretty deep. So that's pretty cool. Whoop, got grass all over my hands. So let's talk about sound system, and then we'll get to kind of the major problem people are talking about with the new Kawais. The Jet sound system is great. Okay, 60 watt, 30 on each side. It's now Bluetooth, so it will sync. It will sync with your phone. It has some quirks, and I gotta admit, it took a while to get used to the quirks. Was that this power button needs to be down here, because it took me a while to even find the stinking power button. Because here's what happens. As soon as you fire up the ski, as soon as this thing fires up, and if you've already synced your phone to, via Bluetooth to the Jet sound system, it will automatically start playing whatever's on your phone. I was launching the skis at Mudbug, and it started playing an audiobook I had been listening to on the drive down. So it will automatically start playing, whether you want it to or not. And that's why you got to go in there and you got to hit the power button to shut it up. Because it will, if it's reading a synced Bluetooth, it will play whatever audio you have on deck. So that's a quirk. That's something kind of funny. It just does it, and I kind of wish it wouldn't, but it does. But the sound is great. At 50 miles an hour, you're hearing it. Over chop, you can hear it. It's pretty clear. It's a decent sound system. Works really good with your Bluetooth smartphone. You can plug in, if you have like a thumb drive and you want to get a little cable, you can hook it up through the USB port that's in the glove box. If you have a little dongle or a thumb drive, you can listen to music that way. I don't know anyone who does, but that's up to them. But again, if you have Bluetooth on your smartphone with music, you can listen to music. In fact, if you have a good signal, you can listen to Pandora or Spotify or whatever. Okay, so let's talk about the kind of the elephant in the room, and this is the last thing, is the hood. Okay, so if you're online, you're on the forums, you're on the group pages, you will have seen that the hoods are ripping off. And I'm not joking. They are quite literally tearing off of the front of the skis. And what's happening is that, especially if they nosedive, water is hitting this lip and pulling up. And it is stressing the very thin plastic that holds this composite hood together. All right? It's literally pulling on that on the bracketry that holds this hood on. And I'll show you. And believe it or not, our hood is broken too. All right? Look, right here. Ours is actually broken. The same exact thing. Okay? This is happening to a lot of Cowies. A lot of just these models, just the new STX. Okay? All of this, now obviously Cowie wanted to keep weight down. Obviously, you don't want a big heavy fat ski, so they're trying to keep weight down. So this whole bracket is made out of plastic. This mounting point is very thin. Listen, can you hear how thin that is? That is paper thin, and I will show you. Look at how thick it is. It is not very thick, okay? And this broke. Now, Kawasaki is already addressing these. Dealerships are already addressing these. They are sending out replacements. They're already recasting the plastic parts to make them thicker, to make them stronger. So we're going to see a very quick resolution, all right? But there are some people who have had their hoods completely tear off. All right. Now for us with this one, let me turn the camera around. All right. What that meant for us, I wasn't out in the Pacific Ocean. I wasn't out in the Gulf. I wasn't jumping waves. All right. I'm pretty mild when it comes to these units. But what did happen, this sucks, is that I had a very expensive camera and camera bag in the front of the ski, and the whole front of the ski got full of water. I'm talking inches of water. And I'm now getting the camera back from being repaired, and that was a pretty expensive repair for a very expensive camera. And so now I have found the beauty and benefit of dry bags. So I almost always, whenever I bring a camera, am packing a dry bag with the Cowie. I have yet to get our hood fixed. I have no problem waiting at the back of the line. There are paying customers who need to have theirs fixed first, and Kawasaki's doing their damnedest. They're doing a really good job with the dealership through their dealer network. I'm sorry, I don't have the selfie stick. And trying to get their paying customers' hoods fixed. So they're on top of that. That, unfortunately, is just the growing pains of a first year model. I hate saying it, but the first year model of most anything, and I don't care if it's a car, an airplane, a boat, a jet ski, or a computer, or a phone, there's usually growing pains when it comes to the first year of anything. So that's an unfortunate thing, but I know that they're on top of it. So there is some silver lining in that storm cloud. So what's my overall take on the STX? I think the STX 160LX is a fantastic step of evolution for, I should move my fingers. Sorry. Okay. I'm trying to do the selfie thing holding it without the stick because for whatever reason it was getting hot. I think it's a great step in evolution. I really do. I think that they made some serious, they needed to make some changes. They needed to pump some new life into the STX platform. What they did with this was able to not only just have one unit, they introduced three. They introduced the 160 base model, the 160X, and then the 160LX. And the LX, I think, is a fantastic machine. How does it size up against the GTI SE 170 or the high output VX Cruiser, the VX Cruiser HO? It's still not going to rank as high as either of those units. Quite frankly, because of fit and finish, fuel mileage, the different accessories, features, and quite frankly, brakes. Especially if the recreation segment is truly designed for the first-time family buyer. The first-time buyer is not going to go out and buy an RXP X300. Well, he might, but he shouldn't. That's a dangerous combination. But I'm going to take a seat. I really want to use the stick. Let's see if I can. Sorry, guys. Hey, this is going to be the worst. This is going to be the worst camera work of any Facebook Live I've ever done. So I'm just accepting it right now. So let's get the ski in the picture. Ski in the picture. All right, ski in the picture. Okay. Yeah, I really do think it's a great entry. I do think this is something that Kawasaki can build from. I think this is, it's a great hull. The center of gravity thing makes me a little concerned because it is very noticeable. It really is noticeable. If you're going 35 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, it rocks. It really does. It's trying to track on the keel, but because it's lacking the velocity and the center of gravity is so much higher, it just rocks back and forth on that keel, and that is that's unfortunate. That's a weird behavior thing that people will be like, I did notice that. That is weird. The radio immediately playing whatever you've got on your phone is weird. In fact, it'll play the audio from YouTube. If you have the YouTube app, it'll play videos. It'll play the audio over the speakers of videos you might be watching. There's some quirks. There's just tiny little fine-tuning things. But I've got this unit for another month or two, and I'm going to try to rack up as many hours as I can. When the time comes, I might show how to replace the hood. If we do get a new hood and new bracketry, I'll show how to do that. But if anyone has any questions about this unit, please feel free to ask. I haven't seen questions. I've just seen who's been watching. Let me get... All right, I'll turn the camera around so my nose isn't right in the camera lens. Yeah, unfortunately, when I do Facebook Live on the phone like this, it does not show me questions. So guys, if you're asking me questions, and I'm pretty sure you are, I will go back and answer them. This has been kind of a really quick and dirty Facebook Live. I know the camera work has been the worst, and I've had technical difficulties, and I've just been kind of a novice at this one today. But yeah, again, we're really grateful for the opportunity to even test out one of these units, especially given how high the demand is for new Watercraft. There just wasn't a lot of units left because dealers are climbing over each other to even sell whatever they can. Oh, hey, it's worth noting that because the hull is the same as the previous STX, all previous sponsons, ride plates, intake grates, props, all the performance gear for handling, all carry over. So K-Speed, Riva Racing, Broward Motorsports, any of the major brands who have performance parts. I know the guys at K-Speed have a Stage 1 kit that's pretty freaking crazy. So yeah, we're pretty stoked when it comes to being able to use a lot of that stuff. None of that changes. And they are seeing performance gains, especially because of the improved engine management software that they have on this unit. So guys are getting a little bit more power. Again, our top speed has hovered around 58. Of course, we probably got way too much gas in the tank, but you know, I haven't ran it dry yet. But it is, again, a very good step in the right direction for Kawasaki. We're very, very happy that Kawi took this step with the STX platform. I think they can get a lot more, many more years out of it. And especially if they iron out a few of the wrinkles. You know what? I want to talk about something. Let me talk about one thing before I sign off. I was just about to quit, but I kind of want to bring something up because I know I'm not alone on this. And so let me get the ski out of the weeds again. Here I go, dragging it out. This, by the way, is the same area that I filmed the Don't Get Stuck video with the GTI. Okay, hey, I know for a fact, between you and me, I feel like I'm telling you a secret. All right, I know for a fact that lots of you, as I do, grew up on Kawasaki. You probably grew up on a 440 or a 550. You know, you might have had it. I mean, honestly, when people ask what's your favorite ski of all time, I say it's the SXR 800. I didn't get to put a lot of time on it, but every time I did, it was the most fun I ever had. So I frankly love the 800, and I'm a terrible stand-up rider, but I still love the 800. But I've had this conversation with so many people, and it's kind of tiring to have the same conversation. I swear I am trying to get, there we go. Okay, here we are. This is what I want. This swim platform is way too small for my fat butt. All right, so the reality is that Kawasaki is not building the skis that people want. And that is a terrible thing to say, and I'll rephrase it with a better explanation. Is that I know for certainty that there are people out there who own a Yamaha or own a Sea-Doo because Kawasaki isn't building the kind of ski they want. There's guys on GP 1800R SVHOs that would rather be on a Kawi if there was a lightweight, high horsepower, two-seater muscle craft. I know there are people who are riding Yamaha FX HO cruisers who would rather be on a Kawi because of the hull and because of the storage and the big gas tank, but they wish they had better fuel mileage or they wish they had brakes. I know there's people on Sea-Doos who are the same way. They're on an RX-PX because there's no Kawi equivalent. They're on an RX-TX because they feel there's no Kawi equivalent. That they want the bells and whistles, they want the features, they want the tilt steering, they want the whatever it might be. You know, they want the brakes, they want the slow speed mode, they want sport mode, they want eco mode, they want all the different things that are available. And it's just that Kawasaki simply doesn't have it in their catalog. And I know I've had so many of these conversations. And I think it's important, if there is a machine that Kawasaki's lineup is missing, that we vocalize and say, we really, really want this. We really, really want this. Now that might be putting a 310 motor in this ski. All right, I know the guys in Australia at K-Speed at Brisbane Kawasaki, they did it. And it's ridiculous. And we've got an exclusive video coming out in about a month that'll knock your socks off. We're pretty excited about that one because we're going deep dive on the build of that thing. And then we're actually gonna go out and we're gonna GPS radar run. Well, not radar, but we'll GPS run it and show the world what it does. But if that's the machine that you want, then say so. Say, yes, Kawasaki, build blank, blank, blank. all right? Honestly, because they want to build the products that people want. And I think that they're not getting the information that they need. And honestly, if you say, hey, listen, I'm Joe Blow and I have a Sea-Doo GTX 170 and I wish that there was a Kawi equivalent that had the following, say so. And I'll personally submit an email with every testimonial in it. Because honestly, I think that helps them. And like, for example, I made a point saying that they have the Ultra 310X, and then they have the Ultra, they have the Ultra 310LX. But the Ultra LX, the non-supercharged LX, doesn't have the fanciness, all right? Doesn't have the sound system, and doesn't have the, not plush materials and seat. They don't have the neat colors. It's pretty plain. And so honestly, there should be a true naturally aspirated LX that has all the fancy colors and all the bells and whistles, just with better fuel mileage. And it won't cost them a dime. It's literally parts that they have on the shelf. And so if you think that there's something like that, that doesn't require them to design a new hull, that doesn't require $2 million in R&D and $2 million in retooling, I want you to voice up and say so, because I want to see Kawasaki succeed. I don't want to say secede. That's terrible. I want to see Kawasaki succeed. All right. We are seeing the biggest demand in personal watercraft in over 12 years. Honestly, it hasn't been, the demand for watercraft has never been this strong since 2007, 2008. So guys, if you want to see Kawi succeed, help them by telling them what products you want to buy off of them, okay? And it does, I grew up on Kawi. I'm sure a lot of you guys grew up on Kawi, and you would jump to Team Green tomorrow if they had the one machine that was, the home run. What would be the home run machine for you? So I want to hear it. Leave your comments here, guys. I want the comment list to be a mile long, because I think it'll be great. We want to see these brands succeed. We want to see them stick around. We got some more jet skiers coming by, so I think I might harass them and go play with some of the other people on the lake before I turn back in. But guys, thanks again for watching this terribly, terribly filmed Facebook Live. I hope that I was able to answer some of your questions and you're able to get a better look at this really neat machine. Again, it's growing pains, it's teething, but I really have very high hopes for this machine. I think it has a lot of potential, and I know there's people out there who are loving them and enjoying them, and it's unfortunate that a few people are having some trouble. We hope that your dealerships and everything with warranty will go through well and it'll be low hassle. We wish you the best. Guys, thanks again. Have a very safe and enjoyable weekend. We'll talk to you soon.